nonprofit organizations. And she loves to inspire youth to find their purpose in life. She's a member of Illinois Women in Leadership. She's co-founder of the Community Health Giving Circle, past president of Sangamon County Medical Society Alliance, and a member of the Dining for Women, Together Women Rise, Rotary Club Sunrise in her hometown of Springfield, Illinois. She speaks on NPR, WLUJ radio, and has also been on Channel 20, if you recognize her. Internationally, June does interviews on other radio stations about her journey and her mission work. Some of the awards, and I need to mention these because she is so deserving of these and more, but she's very humble and would always say somebody else deserves it more than me. Back in 2014, she was recognized by U of I as the winner of the Humanitarian Award for her work as an international healthcare advocate, organizer, philanthropist, and educator. In April of 2015, June and her husband, Dr. Agamah, were awarded the State Journal Register finalist for the First Citizen and their Legacy Award in Healthcare for their work in Ghana, West Africa. June has won several awards. She's been listed as the top 100 influential alumni graduates from the U of I. She's on several nonprofit organizational boards in Springfield and volunteers for Campus with Kids, Salvation Army, and her local Hope Church, among other organizations. Recently, June was one of the 10 nominees for the Athena Leadership Award through the Illinois Women in Leadership, who assist women in achieving their leadership potential. And just last May, she was one of 3 finalists in the Security Bank and Springfield Business Journal Woman of Influence, being honored at a reception at Island Bay Yacht Club in Springfield. So June is going to give a very good talk, and I'd like you all to welcome June Agamah.
Good afternoon. It's always a privilege and an honor to stand in front of you. Maybe because my life has been always very serendipitous. And I'll show you how. First of all, I'm deeply grateful that my friends have asked me to do this today. I'm thankful for Carol. I guess Mary has the power of persuasion because she has introduced me to so many people and groups in Springfield and Petersburg and all over. And she probably persuaded Carol to invite me to speak here. I'm also very thankful that Joyce Tirande believed my story mattered and that she featured me in the Petersburg Observer. But today I'm not here to debate about politics or policies. I'm here to talk about purpose. It's my favorite thing to do. I like to share with you my journey and how I discovered my purpose, with the hope that something in my story will spark a little aha moment for you as well. This message is about 3 things. 1, influence. 2, perseverance. 3, how purpose is often revealed through hardship. I'm the author of Carol's Closet, a memoir shaped by 2 themes. First, we are far more alike than we are different. Yet, we often focus and magnify our differences. What we need is what I call the toss salad mentality. The second theme in my book is that God sees us. He knows us, and He loves us. And hopefully, after you heard my story, you will know why I believe that with all my heart. This is where I'm from. This is where it all began. I was born in a small village called Buxton Friendship. I think the population is less than 2,000 people. And it's located on the little, in Guyana, which is bounded by Suriname, French Guiana, and Venezuela, and on the bottom is Brazil. Guyana is the only English-speaking country in the whole of South America. Brazil speaks Portuguese, Suriname speaks Dutch, and French Guiana speaks French. The other 9 countries speak Spanish. And so, how did I grow up in a place that spoke English? And it was because of the British. And that's a whole nother story that I don't have time to tell. I was born in poverty. I was raised in a 1-bedroom home with an outdoor kitchen and an outhouse. I was the 5th child of my parents, but you know, there were no records of my birth, weight, or length. But I lacked nothing. I think I lacked the documentation, but I gained community. Community was very essential for us. These are my parents, Howell and Walterine Wood, neither of whom graduated from high school, yet they were my greatest teachers. Through them, I learned the enduring value of hard work, discipline, reliance, and dedication to family. Now, here are some of what my parents created. And in my book, Carol's Closet, I tell stories about the sights and sounds of my childhood. And I describe how these influenced me. I describe how my father cultivated the largest vegetable garden in my village. He planted fruit trees all around our yard, and he rode 24 miles by bicycle to work 5 days a week. And then, on weekends, he wanted to move out of that little shack, and he wanted to build a big house. So he would invite all of his friends and his cousins to come and help raise the house. My mother, on the other hand, became the best village wedding cake maker. She cooked amazing meals, delicious meals, and pastries of all kinds. And you know, when you have a British background and you have the Caribbean and the African, you put everything together and it is amazing what she could create. You know, I did not know that she was teaching me what service looked like because of what she did every day. And though we lacked material wealth, we were rich in purpose and we were rich in community. My parents eventually immigrated to the United States. And looking back, I realized this. Before I even knew who I wanted to become, someone was already shaping me. Who shaped you? Can you think about that for a second? In October of 2025, I returned home to Buxton Friendship Village, to the very same family home that I grew up in. Much remained unchanged. I was able to relive the rich community home life with the vibrant, colorful homes, the sounds of steel pan music, and the value placed on education. I visited and spoke to the current high school and multilateral students where I went to school. And I still could see their faces, full of hope and pride. People still pick the juicy, ripe fruits from the trees. They still pluck the fresh vegetables from the gardens. My former teachers and neighbors came out to my book signing event, and it was so surreal to see and hear the familiar sounds, especially early in the morning, where the roosters wake you up while crowing. So as I grew older, I wanted more. And it was 1983, and I had left Guyana searching for opportunity, believing that success lived somewhere else. How many of you did that? We always think success is somewhere else. I did not know that I was already successful. First, I traveled to Barbados. And it was there I received the most devastating news one could have. News like that changes you. You know? It was my first lesson that life does not unfold on our timeline. Discouraged and saddened at heart, I left Barbados to join my dad and my younger sister in the United States. But the grief was palpable. And life took a turn for the worst. Here's a photo of me and my dad and my youngest sister. We lived in New Orleans, Louisiana at the time. And here, that hardship met hope, and faith met uncertainty. You know, I talk about those things in my book because those hardships, they did not go away. And I wrestled for years with my faith. I asked the questions over and over again. Why? Why her? Why? But through my journey, I was finally able to understand. During my final year in college, I met my husband, and we got married. And life moved quickly. Graduations, graduate school, residency, children, relocation. Looking back, every move was preparation, though I didn't know it then. I had started graduate school, but that was truncated a year later because we had to move to Evanston, Illinois, where our daughter Sarah was born. And after my husband's residency, our family moved to Hyde Park in Chicago. And by the time we left there, we were a family of 5. So, after the 3 years of fellowship, we moved to the cornfields of Springfield, Illinois. And then came Ghana. Ghana, West Africa, and it was 1996. Our youngest daughter was 11 months old, and with 3 children under 5 years of age, my husband had the brilliant idea that we do mission work in his home country, Ghana. We stepped into uncertainty. You know why? Believing that obedience mattered more than clarity. There we are. We had to start a new journey. But together, we began a life rooted not in comfort, but calling. Life is poor in West Africa, in most African countries. In Agamah, it was dirt poor. It was not easy, and it was extremely difficult to do community development work when you don't really know what you were doing. And this was our first time that we were going to have a clinic. And guess where the clinic was? Under a mango tree. People sat on benches for 4 days. And I, overnight, became a nurse. That's so ludicrous because I cannot stand needles. I cannot stand blood. I cannot stand stuff like that. But there I am, working with my husband and a few volunteers from the village for 4 days. Then the unthinkable happened. My husband got sick on the 4th day. So here I am, the only doctor I knew for miles and miles is sick. And we have 3 children under the age of 5. What's gonna happen? What does the girl do? I got on my knees, started praying and asking God to heal him. And he did. He was able to get up the next morning, and he had lots of other things to do. He had to go to the capital to give lectures, and he was able to do it and get back safely. And when he came back, he said, honey, what in the world are we doing this for? We're not going to do this again. Well, that's the way life works. You see, this reminded me that purpose does not wait for perfect conditions, and that hope and certainty came after we had seen all those patients and they had nowhere to go. And hope came in his parents' kind heart. My husband's parents gave us the bottom portion of their home, and a young physician showed up out of nowhere. His dream was to give back to his community, and he wanted to do just what we wanted, work in these kinds of circumstances. So my husband's parents gave us the bottom part of their home, and we triaged it and made it into a clinic. You see, hope returned not through a miracle, but through people with kind hearts. In Public Health 101, you learn that community engagement will be crucial if meaningful changes need to be made. I was a newly minted public health student at UIS. See me over there? Every night, young people showed up in droves, and the questions were, why are you here? What can you do for me? I don't have work. I don't have skills. I don't know what to do. What do you think? And the answer was, I had no clue. But you know what I did? I made all kinds of promises. And I think by God's grace, He had mercy on me. And I quickly learned that trust is built when words become action. You see, people were filling the potholes in that village with trash because that's all they had. So guess what? We had to build roads, right? Go back one slide. One slide. We had to learn to build roads. That made all the difference because now people could walk on healthy roads to come to the clinic. And then everything changed. And I can attest to you that the changes that we made in that village was extraordinary because people began to have hope. You can go back. So, we built the better access road to the clinic. And fortunately for us, many of the things that I promised there were fulfilled over the years. So, next, here is a photo of our children doing mission work. Those little kitties, they're all grown up now. We had limited human resources. Our patients came in drove to my father-in-law's home to be seen. So, we had to hire our 3 children, and they frequently volunteered in the clinic. Dr. Randy eventually trained high school graduates to CNA level, and he used the kitchen area of my in-laws' home as a lab. We used part of the living room for the pharmacy and the other parts for consultation. And every year, Dr. Randy saw 5,000 patients in that little space. We had to make a decision eventually. Are we going to continue this way, or are we going to trust the God who sent us there? So my husband and I made the sacrificial decision of buying 23.5 acres of land. And it so happened that the land was right off of the highway from Accra to Aflao. It's a major highway. Now, did we do this alone? No. It takes a village. We returned to the United States to share our story. And guess what? We recruited missionaries from Wisconsin. These were men and women that were retired, and every summer they're looking for a place to work. All they needed was to provide us food and a place to sleep, and we are going to work. How does that happen? Where does that happen? It happened to us. We shipped used equipment through the Midwest Mission in Chatham to help us bring water and electricity to the land because there was nothing there. No water, no light, no nothing. And for 3 miles, we dug everything and brought it there. We carried suitcases. You see that picture over there? That's a electric saw that we bought from Menards. We broke it up, put it in our suitcases, and then the guys took it out there, and so that we could expedite and we can make the work on progress go faster. So these are all volunteers that came and they worked with the local guys to get this work done. Now we bought the land in 2006, and in 2008, I am crying like a baby because this beautiful building is up over there. Every room air conditioned, that building for me is, okay, the first testament of a God who cares. It's the outpatient building in this remote area where previously there was nothing, and it is so equipped and beautiful, you cry. Because you know it's not about you anymore. Now, this did not happen because we were experts, but because we persevered. We did not give up. You know, that year we took the largest group of people from Springfield, Illinois. The local people came out to celebrate with us in droves. And we performed our first surgery in our OR in that building. Over the years, we would ship medical supplies, beds, everything conceivable, equipment, desks from Midwest Mission in Chatham, all to equip the hospital and enable the local students to have desks that they can sit at and study better. In public health, you learn that providing access to quality health care is so crucial. In 2014, my husband called me and said, June, go to Lincoln Land Community Center and bid on an ambulance. I'd never done that in my life, but I obeyed. Dutiful wife, right? And I won the ambulance. Not because I was good at it, but someone who was bidding against me knew why I wanted the ambulance. And he let me win. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, people are wonderful. When they know that you're doing something for someone else, they will give you their shirt. And that's what happened. And it happens all the time. So, this hospital now has a modern, it has 6 consulting rooms. It has a treatment room, it has a pharmacy, a laboratory, it has 2 operating rooms, it has a modern waiting room. The hospital opens 24 hours. It has an inpatient, and then the inpatient department comprises of the children, the male and female adult wards, X-ray department, oncology care, ultrasound, antenatal, postnatal, family planning, and several specialized clinics that are held every month. Now, you would agree with me that that is what influence looks like, right? In January of 2025, during the 45th mission trip, we took surgeons from the US and partnered with local Ghanaian surgeons to perform hundreds of needed surgical procedures. Next slide. We now have consistently performed so many surgeries on people who did not previously have access to any kind of health care. Let's linger here for a little bit. That's the campus, okay? The red roof is the outpatient department. The blue roof is the inpatient department. It's a 90-bed inpatient department. On the right is the staff apartments. We started building the staff apartments because the area was, we did not have people living around there. And so people had to travel long distances. So if we were to keep good staff, we had to provide a place for them to stay. And when they were building the staff apartments, they put in the foundation, they put too much on the foundation. We wanted a 3-story, and then we ended up having a 5-story giant place. But it's working out perfectly. God knew exactly what needed to be done. And that's there. It was during the pandemic that we built that solar farm. And you know what the guys did? The solar farm could have vehicles parked under there. And then when the vehicles are not there, you can actually have meetings under there. How cool is that? It's a beautiful thing to watch. And then we, next slide. So that's what I was talking about. Yes, in 2025, we orchestrated one of the finest, most logistical things where we got surgeons from all over, most of them know us, and then we partnered them with surgeons from Ghana to work together for, I think it was 10 or 12 days straight. And I watched. Surgeons are some of the most hardest work. They are beasts. Those people get up early in the morning and they stay in that OR. I don't know, don't they go to the bathroom? They work the clock. I mean, it was like night and day. All we had to do is feed them. And they saw so many, oh my gosh, they did so many surgeries. We kept counting. It was like yeah. It was like a competition. And the reason why is because these people have never, some of them come with huge stuff on their faces, on their bodies. And I think by God's grace, those surgeries are done under conditions that are not like memorial, but these people survive. And they needed it. It was like playing catch up, And we did so many surgeries. And then that gentleman over there, Jim, we would always meet him when we go to Christian medical conferences. And one day we were taking pictures, and this guy kept photobombing us. And we thought it was and then we realized he was not joking. He wanted to be in our photo. So we went up to him and said, Jim, what are you doing? He said, I want to come to Ghana with you. Because we had done a presentation about what we're doing and so on. And Jim is the most wonderful guy. You need Jim when you're doing surgeries because he's a biomedical engineer. I mean, he repairs everything. And now he gets to teach the local guys how to do the biomedical thing. And it's a marriage made in heaven. And in 2023, we began construction of the only clinical pathology laboratory for hundreds of miles from where we are in the Volta region. This enables faster and more accurate diagnoses through global collaboration. Imagine this. You see that computer screen over there? It enables us to process tissues, the tissue that my husband is holding in his hand, send the scans via iCloud to North Carolina for the pathologist to interpret it, and then he makes a diagnosis in a matter of days. Sends back the results to the doctors and the surgeons over there, and the patient gets treated. How cool is that? So construction on this building continues, where it will house the pathology, hematology, microbiology, biochemistry, blood bank, and a museum of documentary of our journey and the things that, happen. We continue our community outreach arm of the IHDN Ministries by visiting the elementary school that we adopted in the village of Warpato. And next to that school is a women and children's ward under construction. Yes, that's been going on for a while. And our hope is that when it's finished, the ladies in the community over there, it's in the village. They don't have to come to the main hospital, which is like 3.5 miles when they're expecting their children. They can go right there and have their babies. So we prepared the delicious meal for the children right next to there, and then the guys worked on the building. And right now, we're hoping that if we finish it by next year or so on, at least we can have some patients there once we find someone reliable to, like a nurse midwife or somebody like that who can run that space for us. We also, in 2025, we revived what is called the Health and Development High School Enrichment Program. Yours truly here, Sheila, came with us, there she is, and she shocked me. Sheila knows more about computers and everything than anyone I know. I mean, she was there teaching those students for days and making it so applicable and so, oh my goodness, it was just amazing and a joy to watch her teach the kids. I did my thing where I always talk about teaching them how to find their purpose and how to make life's decisions and all that thing, but she was there with them. I mean, it was really amazing to watch her. But anyway, back to the story. So we revived that program because we wanted the high school students to have an opportunity, like there is something in this, thing that's happening in this area. And so we had, thus far, between the July when we went there and this January 2026, we have 58 students who benefited from this program. The students were well-mannered, they were excited to be there, and they learned how to find their purpose, how to make life's decision. They learned about computer science, biological science, mathematics, English, and writing comprehension, and other essential tools to help them to function successfully in our world today. And so part of our connectiveness is to organize with the church. And so we always try to partner with the church and which allows us to develop a sense of community. So we always attend the church and we always invite them to come to the hospital to get help and so on. And that's Dr. Agamah and myself and some of the kids over there. Because as a community grows, access to care becomes essential, and then when they know that the care is there, they become healthier. And so it's a nice circuitous thing that happens. Now, I just wanted to give you an eyeball of what has happened. The number of patients treated in the OPD is about 500,000. The number of major surgeries is 2,500. Minor surgeries, 4,710. The number of safe deliveries is 2,017. And the total infrastructure investment is over 3 million. And the total amount generated by the hospital operations is 6 million. And the expenses of the hospital operation is over 6 million also. But the total debt owed by the National Health Insurance of Ghana to us is this amount, 2,433. And it's going up every time because, you know, they promise to pay and they never pay. And then we have to find a way to pay our staff so we can remain viable and treat. You cannot send your patients away telling them that, you know, you can't treat them because the government didn't pay money towards us. But before I go there, I want to explain to you some of the lessons learned. And I think that there are 4 major lessons that I personally learned. 1, excellence matters. It was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. who said, whatever your life's work is, do it well. A man should do his job so well that the living, the dead, and the unborn could do it no better. And I think as I reflect on my life and I watched my parents, Howell and Walterine Wood, they embodied this principle. Number 2, adversity can produce purpose. Some of my greatest growth emerged from seasons of loss and hardship, including the loss of my mom at the age of 49 years, due to lack of medical access. When she and my dad arrived with my youngest sister in New Orleans, my dad could not find work and thus could not have health care. And my mom was taking medicines already, and so she did not have it. And then she ended up having, you know, difficulties. And at the tender age of 49, we lost her. But all was not lost. And I look back at my life and the things that I learned on my journey and everything. In 2020, when I was sitting in my living room and the COVID-19 was raging and isolation and all the stuff was happening, I discovered my voice as a writer and as someone who could stand here and speak before you. So even in winter seasons, we can bear fruit. Lesson number 3, life is measured by impact. I have a quote in my book. It says, for life is not measured by the breaths you take or the number of heartbeats in your chest, but by the things that take your breath away. For each of you, that might be something different, okay? The things that take our breath away. I learned that God is a big thing in my life. He fills my life with good stones. I've been privileged to meet some amazing people, especially when we take large groups of people from all religious backgrounds and experiences to Ghana on these mission trips. They share their stories, and it is in that space that God is the center of all things. Because we realize that we all need the same things in life. It does not matter whether you are rich, you're poor, you're black, you're white, no matter where you're from, you need to be seen, known, and loved. It is where the tossed salad mentality comes in. It comes alive. We are individuals. We are different color, we have different shape, we have different sizes, we have different heights, we have different flavors, we like different things, we are so different collectively, but we are all human beings. These people that follow us to Ghana, they sacrificially leave the comfort of their homes to follow us. Then they hold our hands up when we, my husband and I, grow weary. When we want to give up, they pray us through. Our churches here pray for us constantly while we're gone, either for 2 or 3 weeks. They constantly lift us up in prayer, and we feel it when we are there. It is where the tossed salad comes, where we do not decide that because you are that color, or you are this, or you are that. No, we are all one. And the fourth thing is that true fulfillment comes from relationships. It's the relationships that we build. It's where we have friends who would come alongside us. When we're there, the medical students and the doctors and the surgeons, they lose patience. Babies, young men, people that they develop relationship with right there. And it's hard. It's hard to lose a patient that you invested hours and hours of time trying to take care of them, to save them. And we are able to lift each other up. Some of us become depressed over these things, and we are able to have others pray with us. And then we are able to worship God, who placed us in that space to care for each other and the poor whom He loves. You know, family, this is my family. My greatest legacy is not in buildings, it's people. I love people. I believe that God places you in spaces where He wants you to be. Because He is everywhere. And when I look back at my journey and I see how God used our little kids, to pour into, people and things that they had no clue what they were doing. Our daughter, Asaya, is the one at the end up there. She's to the left, and she is the writer, and she encouraged me to write my memoir. Her name is Asaya Ruth Agamah. The middle one is Dr. Alikam Miriam Agamah, and she's a second-year radiology resident at the University of Indiana in Indianapolis. And Dr. Akpene Sarah Agamah is a psychiatrist, and she's pursuing her fellowship in child psychiatry at the University of Illinois in Chicago Medical School. And there's yours truly, my husband and I, standing in front of the outpatient department in the hospital. Who would have known that years back, when we were carting those little ones on the airplanes, and she would be throwing up and would be sleeping, and you find her sitting with woke up and being taken care of because she fell or something, and just she couldn't stand the travels, and just all the heartaches and everything that today 2 of them would choose to give their service as doctors. We never know what tomorrow brings. And I want to leave you with this, that, if my story moves you, I'd like to invite you to join us. I know most of you think you're retired, but I want to unretire you. If you have the ability to go with us, please do. It will be life-changing for you. You go there and it's nothing like you heard here. There's so much peace, there's so much joy, there's so much that you experience, because people have nothing and they're happy. People work hard. Whatever God put in their hands to do, they do it. They use their bodies, whether it's their head, their arms, whatever, to work and take care of their families. There's no government subsidies, there's no handouts, there's nothing but what your God-given abilities are, and they work day and night. You enter that hospital, the OR, or the outpatient building. People are sitting there quietly, waiting for their turn. I have never experienced anyone getting up and behaving untowards or whatever. They sit quietly. There are people that are very prideful. They're very calm. They're beautiful people. The students that we work with, they come in quietly. You would not even know that they're there. They sit quietly, they listen to you. They just want to imbibe everything that you're teaching them. They're respectful. There's nothing, that would make you not want to go back. And I tell people all the time that one of my favorite places when I go there is when we are doing devotions. And we sit around there and we listen to others share about their journey and why they came on this journey, and how God is entering into their hearts and their lives. Because for the first time, especially the medical people, they do not have all of the machines and the equipment and so on to make diagnoses on patients. They're able to touch patients. They're able to see things that they read in textbooks, and able to think, use their minds and their hearts to touch people, to feel things, and it transforms them. I've never had anyone that went with us said, I don't want to go back. By the end of the 2 or 3 weeks, no one wants to leave. And that, my friends, is influence. Because influence multiplies when shared. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. and thank you for choosing to be a catalyst for change. Thank you. Does anyone have questions? Don't be shy.
When's the next trip?
The next trip is in October.
Someone had their hand up over there. I was just gonna ask, how many times a year do you go?
We try to go at least twice a year.
Okay.
And our last trip this time was our 47th mission trip. We used to go once a year, years before, but then we realized after the work is growing, we needed to go more often. And more people would like to go. And usually in January, we take the medical people, like the surgeons, the nurses, and so on, because the SIU students, especially the fourth-year graduates, they love to go because then before they graduate, they get to get a really nice, immersive experience, especially if they're doing internal medicine or ID specialists or things like that, or surgery. They get to, hands-on experience. And then sometimes we go in July, and then this year we go in October because we have several surgeons that want to go, and then because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we are able to do a major thing and then do lots and lots and lots of surgeries. Now, okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if you had any books that we could purchase.
Yeah, we have tons of books. I just put a few out. It's $15 for one, and if you want to give a copy to someone, it's $25 for two. You can sell it. You can sell it to me, and I think there's a what is that thing on there? The other thing, and then you can give me a check or a cash. Over here. I think it's Venmo, yeah. Venmo, Zelle, and then thing. And you would love Carol's Closet because, when I was growing up in that tiny village, we have a library. And from a young age, I enjoyed reading. And so I made a pact with my girlfriend that we should read all the books in the library before, we graduated from high school. And so I love stories that puts you in the moment. And I love to write that way. So I think you would enjoy reading about my mom's cooking, and you'll feel like you're there and really tasting what she's prepared. I give you, I tell it like it is. My children were growing up in predominantly white spaces where there were little black girls, and oftentimes they were not understood. And they didn't understand why they were treated a certain way. So I wrote things about that. And it's very educational because if you're not in that thing, you don't really understand how the person feels. So when I wrote my book, I wrote it so that you can have an understanding of what's going on and how people felt that way. I also wrote a lot about the value of regarding people and their differences. Because I think that if I were God, I would make people of different, like when those kids were standing up here, I can tell you the joy in my heart. because they didn't come up there like cookie cutter kids. Oh, I just want to be a this. I just want to be, all of us want to be farmers, or all of us want to be nurses. No, 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 no. You noticed? There were engineers, there were people who were pursuing science, art, sports, all those kind of things. And that's how we are made. The God we serve makes people different. You know, we have different skills and abilities, we have different, the way we are, and we are supposed to do the toss salad thing every day in our lives. Accept people for who they are, learn from them. So my book addresses some of those issues. And then I write about my childhood experiences of doing Christmas in Guyana, or Easter in Guyana. And I bring you there and I put you there so you can experience what I was feeling as a little child, experiencing all that. And then I take you on my journey with me to Barbados. And I describe all of the wonderful things that I observed and experienced, and put it on paper so that when you read it, you're not bored. And I think that Carol's Closet would be something that you might want to give to your teenagers or people who are coming up. Because I tell you exactly what I was feeling when I felt dumb. I felt, I didn't know my purpose. I showed up for my first interview and I totally forgot, what the title of what I applied for. And young kids go through that all the time. And so when they read my book, they can relate to it. And my dream is that one day, Carol's Closet will be accepted maybe into the District 186 or something, so that kids could read that book and relate to some of the stuff that's in there. That's just me. But thank you for having me.